thought you had the actual clapper.
And it was always the joke, right? When they had sex and the lamp was going on and off.
The length?
Lamp.
Oh, that could be.
The light. Lamp. L-A-M-P.
I don't know.
Light, man.
Going on and off to the clapping.
Yes, that's the joke. Right, well, that was the joke. That was funny in the 70s, you see?
Yeah.
You would watch movies from the 70s, that's how they look.
I guess.
I mean, the only act I've seen for you is always twerking.
Right. Well, with black comedy,
I'd twerk also on stage.
That's how you start. Every time they post something from that open mic, I'm like...
Everybody that's every time I get up there in an open mic black comedy, it's always twerking.
Twerking, yeah.
And she twerks and she wants me to twerk.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay.
I mean,
Can you actually twerk though?
No.
Okay, that's.
I
mean, it's unusual. You can.
It took
Okay.
years to practice.
I mean, it's unusual.
Years to practice.
Maybe not. I'm a natural, I guess. for white people.
Right. It's
You
unnatural.
have Brazilian, right?
Oh, that's why.
Well, just plain old American redneck.
Well, I don't know where. Okay, I'll try not to knock that over.
would be funny. All right.
That would be.
So we start 1, 2, 3 clap and we just start going.
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Perfect. Welcome to the Psst, Did You Hear That podcast with me, Imre, Mehesz, and
Flow funny.
And today we have the very OG SPIKE YODER. Woo!
Yay!
You can
Spiky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
that
you,
was it.
Spike.
Thanks for coming on. I hope you had fun. And
That's all I have.
okay.
Good night. Is that thing really hooked to the clapper like in the 70s? Is that
The clapper.
Clapper.
showing my age? You don't even remember the clapper.
Do you mean the sign that was blinking? when
No,
the
clap?
no. They sell a thing called the clapper, and you clap on your lights,
Yes.
and then you clap off. Yeah, I thought.
I've only seen it in movies.
Oh, so this is not real. It didn't actually turn on.
No.
I'm disappointed. I thought you had the actual clapper.
And it was always the joke, right? When they had sex and the lamp was going on and off.
The length?
Lamp.
Oh, that could be.
The light. Lamp. L-A-M-P.
I don't know.
Light, man.
Going on and off to the clapping.
Yes, that's the joke. All right, well, that was the joke. That was funny in the 70s, you see?
Yeah.
You would watch movies from the 70s, that's how they look. Yeah, so the funny thing, I don't know if you guys know that guy in Orlando. I can't remember his name. He moved to New York, but he had the podcast called the 15-second podcast. And it was literally, he had everything set up. The guy sitting next to him, hey, so what do you think about this? And the guy could barely say anything. Thank you very much. And that was the whole thing.
15 seconds.
Yes, it was
15
crazy.
seconds.
It was like the silliest idea, but it works. You know, but it worked. I don't know.
He's a millionaire.
I don't know. He moved up.
15
He's a
seconds.
comedian. He moved up to New York. What the heck was his name? It's red hair. It was really funny. I liked it.
So if you did like the 16-second podcast, would he sue you? Like,
Yeah.
was that do not compete?
Yeah. Or less, even less, like 10 seconds.
Can you last longer than 15 seconds?
No comment.
Here's the thing. I don't know if it's the age or whatever. I was always a longevity guy. Which girls like.
We're into sex right now.
Yes.
Already.
Right,
It took like
We're there.
This is the 15-second podcast before you get into sex podcast.
Yeah, somebody said
Wow.
several times that we should do a sex podcast because we talk about sex all the time. But then,
Yeah, no, that's cool. I just, I figured I was the one that was going to take us down that road, and then, here I am.
We brought
I'm trying to clean it up for you guys.
yeah.
born ready.
Wow.
Slam dunk.
So you're a longevity guy. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
So I always was a longevity. Not
Yeah.
always, but most.
you're my hero.
And then as I got older, I got even longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. Yep.
I don't know if you have any other. You don't need the tricks. What do? You think of sexual?
Sometimes I do need the tricks because I meet my match. And
Yeah.
I think of all kinds of things. One time I was thinking of Vladimir Putin. I might have said this story already.
Vladimir
Yeah.
with the shirt off.
Yes. And so
I knew that was what he was thinking.
Yeah,
I was
he likes that.
like not the shirt. I was just thinking about. I was
On
thinking
the
about
horse.
all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. And then Vladimir Putin face popped into my head, and the girl's face turned into that. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience.
In real life.
You're
Yeah, in real life.
And you were hitting it from the back.
No,
From the front. from the side.
It was crazy. So what are your
Wow.
Flo? What do you do?
Oh, just don't do it at all for
Abstinence.
years.
Abstinence is the best.
Yeah. That's why all my jokes are dirty dick vagina, because nothing happens ever.
I ordered books on tantric sex. But
Tantric.
tantric, yeah.
Neither of us know what that means,
Yeah,
so you're
no.
going to have to...
It's an India.
I've heard the word, but
Right.
it's like acid.
very,
Tantric
very-
acid?
No,
No?
it's different. That's a Russian thing when they pour acid on your car.
Oh.
Or they probably do that here too, huh? If you are mad at somebody. No, in America, you shoot each other. We shoot each
No, when you take the knife to the
knife is
tire,
Italian.
to the... Oh.
We did acid. Middle East do acid a
Okay.
lot of times. Yeah.
So what's this tantric?
It's just you wait until you orgasm for a very, very long time.
Oh.
You put like a rubber band around it?
Sure. Rubber band. But no, it's just more about meditation and
Okay.
being in the moment and enjoying it
Huh.
to the fullest.
Huh.
But I wanted to say a joke, and you guys totally butchered it.
Oops.
That I ordered a book on tantric sex, but you have to know what tantric sex is. And it still hasn't come yet. This joke never works, by the way. That's why I just burned it. Because never again. It's a stupid pun, you know. Like,
I got you. Yeah.
Like
That'd be a great joke if the whole audience stops now and then you can explain it
yes,
before you deliver that punchline.
right. I haven't gotten there yet either because I'm slow. But anyway, Spike. So this is a comedy podcast. We usually talk about comedy also,
Yes.
other than sex. I guess.
yes. We want to know your wisdom and your life.
You want to know? Yeah.
Once I'm done, I'm like an elephant.
Snoring, or what do elephants do?
I don't
Ping
know why I just
They
said
snort.
I'm like,
They
what do
trumpet.
elephants
They
do?
trumpet.
Like,
I don't know. Yeah.
me a
you can do
sandwich or something.
Wow. Is that why the last one didn't work out?
No.
the old elephant finish.
The old elephant. It's a big nose. It's like
Big trunk.
The trunk. Okay.
Yeah.
the trunk.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to make an innuendo with the trunk, but I'm like,
Oh.
because all my exes are laughing. They're like, it's not a trunk, you know. It's the peanut that the elephant eats, you know. All right, Spike. So how did you get into comedy?
Let us know.
That's not even fair. You can't follow dirty with it. How did I get into comedy?
How did you get into sex then?
Yeah.
When was your first time?
I never planned to get into comedy. I didn't know that it never even entered my mind. I've always enjoyed comedy, watching stand up. But in 2010, my daughter got pregnant in college, and I was going through a lot of stressful things in business and work and family and things. And I started writing. It's always been an outlet for me to write and just get my thoughts down on paper to it's therapy for me. And then I kept finding that every third or fourth paragraph I had to try to say something funny, it would just automatically come out to where I had to put a funny line in there. And I started thinking about maybe I should, try writing some comedy just as a fluke. I just thought of it. And then my parents had 70th birthday parties 6 months apart, and I roasted both of them at those events and got a lot of great feedback. So
Okay.
I started writing it, and then ended up joining the workshop at the Comedy Zone in 2013. So it's been 11 years that I've been doing it, and again went there to learn to write comedy, thinking maybe I would write for other comedians or whatever. Never thought I had any stage persona to speak of, and then eventually, throughout the process of taking the class and being part of that workshop, realized that I actually had something that the audience connected to. I don't know what that is. It's not really charisma. It's some kind of likability. And as you know, that's more important almost than being funny, is being likable. So the audiences tended to like me, and so that gave me an in, and I found out that they thought I was funny. So, been
The rest is history.
the rest. You know, I wish I could say it's been. It's you see a graph where it kind of goes up at a slight incline. That's my comedy career. I thought I'd start at zero and it would always incline at the same rate. But to be honest with you, when COVID hit, it just everything flatlined for me, and I feel like I was peaking at COVID. Literally, the week COVID hit, I was like the highest I've ever been, and suddenly it just everything went away, and now it's been 4 years, and I do not think I'm back to that point yet where I was, just because of the amount of time that I was spending on stage and traveling and doing things, and but I'm getting back. I'm doing more shows, and I have some more time now because, as you know, I'm partially retired, so I can that just happened, so I'll have some more time to be able to devote to comedy, and hopefully it'll come back. But it's never, my passion for the art has never gone away.
Yeah.
Just that my timeline of I don't know if you have a timeline. Probably everybody has a timeline of a goal, and mine was to be a touring headliner in 10 years, and it's come and gone. I headline occasionally, but I'm not there at the point where I feel like I might have made it if I could have stayed on track. But anyway, it's hard to say. I don't know. I'm terrible at social media, so nowadays without that, it's hard to make a career of it anyway. So I enjoy comedy more than anything. It's my passion. I found my passion at age 50. So, that's. I think probably the journey is more important than the result.
Oh,
so I'm gonna keep enjoying it and keep working at it and see what happens.
I mean, that's one of the
Enjoy the ride, huh?
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about comedy, that you can go any town, you can go to any mics, and as soon as other comics find out that you are a comedian, it's like it's a click.
Right.
Because you've been through the same stuff, the same grind, the open mics, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I like about comedy. The community is so great. I've never been to any town that they were like, oh, you suck. Not that you suck, whatever, but where people were not friendly, other comedians.
Right. Suddenly you have a kinship.
Yeah.
You have a bond that just, it's immediate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. You can hear the top comedians in the world say that exact same thing.
Right.
I think they would rather be here with us talking about comedy than with some government official getting an award. It's just amazing that bond that develops because we all experience the same thing.
Yeah, but if you know anybody super famous that wants to be on the podcast, that they'd rather be doing this, just let me know.
Rather than getting the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know offhand, but I'll keep my ears open.
Okay, so one thing that stood out from you said you were writing beforehand. So tell me about what you were, because it sounds like you've been doing that before comedy.
Well, I've always been able to write, but it takes me a long time.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense or not. I'm not the type of person that can jot down 3 pages like off the top of my head and it's perfect. But the great thing about comedy, I found out after studying, even before I joined the workshop, one of the reasons I joined the workshop was when I found out that a comedian can do a joke on a stage that kills, and the audience doesn't know whether it took that comedian 10 minutes or 10 years to write that joke.
Yeah.
And so I've always been a good writer, but it takes, I love to play with words and the order of things. And so if I were to write a composition, for example, it might take me 3 times as long as the other people. When it's done, it's probably better than theirs, but I'll invest 6 hours in it instead of an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And so I found that the art allows me to spend the extra time in the writing. And I'll be honest, I was thinking on the way over here about writing, because I'm going to age myself now. Okay. When in high school, or even junior high, whatever, when we would write, you had to physically write.
With pen and paper.
With pen and paper.
Yeah, sure.
And I have the worst handwriting in the world. I'm left-handed. I'm terrible handwriting. And so my entire life, whenever I wanted to write my thoughts and really develop something, I would lose interest because of the handwriting. And I because it would get so sloppy, and then I would, it would just be a mess and things. And then I got a typewriter, of course, and people, I don't know if you guys have actually used a typewriter. Yeah, but I took a typing class in high school and bought a typewriter, and that helped. Now it was a neat format, but you're still locked into that page. Whatever you put on that page, that you're stuck there. And I can honestly tell you, when the word processor was invented and Microsoft Word came out, I don't know. I mean, I'm not
I remember
a leader in, I wasn't computers were around a long time before I got into them.
Yeah.
But when I found out that I could type as fast as I wanted and make as many mistakes as I wanted, and then just go back and move it around and correct it and change it and then make a copy and do it again and it opened up an entire new world to me, to where I was no longer discouraged with writing. Now I could write. And it just made all the difference. And so I don't think I'd be a comedian today if the word processor didn't exist. Because of my handwriting. I mean, that's just, I had to write everything down when I started.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that didn't answer your question, but because I didn't do a lot of actual writing because of my handwriting.
Interesting.
But I had the skill to write, but I just didn't, because I wanted to edit, I couldn't edit.
Yeah. Okay, so what did you write? That's what I was trying to get at.
Well,
did you write poetry or something?
no.
No? Never mind that. No, I'm just kidding.
I did. I actually found a poem that I wrote in grade school about the World War II nuclear bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, believe it or not.
Okay.
And it was actually pretty good. I was impressed.
Was it like but in a satire or?
No, it was totally,
serious?
it was serious. I was, and it basically, the premise of the poem was that, how fortunate we are to have been born on this side of that equation.
Sure.
Because we could have been them.
Yeah, right.
On the receiving end. We have no choice of where we're born into this world and what our families are, and so forth. And so I almost felt guilty for being able to be on the victorious side of that. And so I wrote that poem, and I found it the other day in a box I had. I don't know. It was kind of weird, but no, I didn't write a lot of poetry or anything. But what I found was that anytime I had stress, if I start writing my thoughts out, if I'm angry, if I'm upset about something, I will give myself advice in the writing. It'll actually work itself out, usually on paper, to where I actually can find the answer by the time I'm done writing. Or if not, I've written something that's entertaining for me, to where I can actually leave the other thoughts behind. So, but I'm not a trained writer. I took an English comp class in one of the few college classes I've actually taken. But it's a therapeutic thing.
So the reason why I'm asking, because I talked to several comedians and they do these morning pages. So they wake up. I don't know if it's just one page, whatever, but they wake up and the first thing they do before they touch their phone, they grab a notebook and they write a page down, just thoughts. Just what after.
Who does this?
A couple of comedians I talked to. This is an exercise. It's called. It's right. You don't have to write funny. It's not about writing funny. It's about just writing your conscious thoughts as soon as you wake up. And you can, it might be funny or you might get something out of it, but just the exercise of writing and putting your thoughts on paper, it's apparently very helpful. So I don't know. I tried to do it a couple of weeks. I lasted maybe 5 days or something.
So for me, it's like that half awake, half asleep thing. Sometimes that happens to me. Or if I'm going to take a nap and I'm like practicing my jokes in my head, saying the lines, all of a sudden something will come to me and I'm like, God, I gotta wake up, so I'm like half awake, and I write it down. But it, like so many times I've come up with ideas or funny stuff that way, which is weird because it's like a half asleep conscious state you're in. So maybe when you first wake up, maybe you get some. I can imagine maybe you're still in it.
Have you talked about that state before? I mean, and do you know Thomas Edison used to do that?
No.
Like, you know, the great inventor of the
light
bulb. Yeah, the light bulb.
I mean, he invented a couple of other things like
yeah,
What
and
I mean, he did what?
well, he would sit in his workshop that had a wooden floor in a chair.
Yes, I heard it.
And he would hold a metal ball or something in his hands.
Yes.
And so as he would be dozing off, he would get to a state of almost falling asleep, and the ball would fall out of his hand and wake him up to where he could immediately write down whatever thoughts he had, the last thoughts that he could remember in that state, because he knew that
Those are in
right at the edge of sleep and awake was some kind of zone. And I don't know what it's called or anything about it, but it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I've always thought that I get a lot of things at night. I'll wake up and think of things and then write it down or put it on my phone, and it's usually not nearly as funny the next morning, but
that happens.
you know, and that's fine. But it's interesting how much I think it's our subconscious mind just working on.
Because your brain is free of everything. There is no stress. You don't think about paying bills or whatever. You know, just woken up from a dream or
Could
whatever.
be.
You know.
Yeah.
So your brain is completely open.
Yeah, and I do know that if I don't get up, if it's in the middle of the night, write it down, because I'll tell myself, oh, there's no way I'll forget this tomorrow.
Right.
Next day, dang it, it was funny. What was it?
Yeah.
So I gotta get up and write it down. Gotta get up.
You have to. You have to do it. Yeah, that's it'll go away, and you might never get it back. You know, it's just not.
Yeah, never.
Most likely never get it back. Yeah,
Right.
I have the same, like I drive my car or whatever, and like sometimes I tell my kids, hey, text me this real quick, because I know I will forget it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But yeah, so
That's yeah.
I think it, like there must be some kind of, because I know Seinfeld meditates a lot, and he said he started meditating when he was like 22 or whatever.
Right.
He meditates every day before go to
I've never tried that. I've heard him talk about it.
and I'm just, my brain is just so all over the place. I did.
Does he receive energy, or does he
No, it's just
freeze his mind?
just sitting in your thoughts.
But there's different ways to meditate.
Yes.
Like I meditate with my students, but I don't call it meditation. There's mindfulness in the school.
Mindfulness,
We just take deep breaths, close your eyes, let your thoughts go.
Yeah.
So you can do that. But yeah, you can there's
Do you have but is there an exercise you're doing, like, to separate yourself from thoughts, or?
sometimes I'll just silently let your thoughts come, or I'll do I have this recording where it'll be like, imagine yourself at the beach and you see the sun and you feel the waves, or that's to get them to be
I like
less
those.
stressed.
I like those when somebody's telling me what to do.
Right, but the silence is hard to focus and be
Yes.
right, not move and be quiet.
So there are different stuff they say, like if you start a candle or whatever, just focus on one point, just look at it. Like you don't even have to close your eyes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that next. You stare at one point at the wall.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. I don't know, but I like the meditate. Like if you go on YouTube, there is like, hey, 30-minute meditation.
Right,
class and
right.
stuff. And then they tell you in a very gentle ASMR voice what to do.
Right, or they'll play certain music in the background. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a practice. And once you practice something for like 7 days, that's when it becomes a
Routine or a habit.
No, they say habits 30 days.
for 30. I know it's very long, and I can never.
Well, I've gone to the gym for 2 weeks straight every morning because I thought that was what I needed for the routine. It's not 2 weeks.
No.
Dang it.
Right, no,
I've got another 2 weeks to go before I.
God.
because you have to rewire your brain. Hey, I'm doing.
I
this,
think that's the
this.
key, is the wiring of the.
Yeah.
I think all the meditation is rewiring the circuits,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you know, you guys were talking on one of your other podcasts about. Yeah, there you go.
Listen.
I think it was it Joe that you had here?
Joe Malice.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah, and he was saying, don't throw your old stuff away, don't throw your old stuff away.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong believer in that, because your your subconscious mind never forgets anything. Your conscious mind, you can't remember anything, right? But anything that you thought, I don't think it ever goes away. It's stored somewhere.
Sure.
And depending on what it is, your subconscious mind is actually working on a problem for you. Like, say you have a joke that you're trying to develop a punchline, or you did something, it's funny to you, but it doesn't work for an audience.
Right.
I like to put those aside and not think about them, and then work on other things. And you'd be amazed. A year later, you go back and you think about that joke. Your mind has figured out. Number one, it'll immediately tell you the funny part of that joke to get you at least working on the best part of it. But sometimes you will have developed brand new material for that joke that you didn't even do.
That was me at the...
It's like an assistant, So yeah, don't throw anything away because...
the workshop 2 weeks ago when I was like, oh, this is an old joke.
Right.
That was... And actually when I first brought it up before I got there, I was like, suddenly new things came to me. I'm like, how come I didn't think of this 2 years ago?
Right.
Like a 2-year joke, and suddenly you got something new. But in the moment you tried for even months, like, how do I add a nothing?
Yeah.
And then suddenly 2 years later, it's like...
If you can bring it back out, it'll...
If you find, if you write another joke, that happens to me all the time because I started as a one-liner, so I write another joke. I'm like, wait a second, I had a similar joke, so I can now put them together and make them a longer bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? All together, like 2 jokes separately. But yeah, that happens all the time.
It's interesting, yeah. And like you were saying before, how the audience doesn't know if it took 10 minutes or
10
months
years.
or 10 years to come up with a joke.
Right.
I just met, like, my friend had a barbecue Saturday, and I met some people, and I was telling him how I do comedy, and this guy's like, oh, I've never tried it, but I know if I do it, I'll probably be really good.
Oh,
and it's going to be easy.
How many times have you heard that, right?
I know. I'm like, okay, good. I said, good luck. Come out to the open mic. Let's see you do that.
And then they do really well, and it just sucks. It just pisses you off.
Maybe one time they might do good, but
I know.
you're
Like, all right, come back when your friends aren't here. Try it with strangers, right?
That's so many times.
Yeah.
Somebody comes out, first time, kills it. Second time, kills it a little bit less.
Or trash.
And they just stop after a month. Because open mics are, that's where you break yourself. And sometimes it works, some people can get a hang of it and they're working on it and they start.
Isn't that weird? There are some people who sound the same as they did the first time they got up. I can think of one person in Jacksonville that
really?
Yeah, I'm not going to name the name, but that person sounds exactly the same as they did like 8 years ago.
What do you mean sound?
8 years.
The delivery, the material's better because they've had time to work on it.
The persona
But
is the same.
they had no nerves.
I feel like my person.
They stood up. They did bits like they had been on stage for years.
Wow.
And now, 5-8 years later, they still sound exactly the same. They haven't improved, but yet they started at this. I don't know. It was really
Interesting.
Never-
I definitely
never mind.
changed. I'm more like...
It's a rare thing. Yeah, most people have changed.
First
like
time I
me.
was more like I'm talking to you guys right now, but after I discovered I have an accent, so I had to slow down, way down when I'm at a show,
Yeah.
and that changed my personality on stage. That's why I don't move a lot. I'm not a physical comedian. Whatever.
I don't know about it actually.
So your natural delivery was faster,
Yeah,
but because of the accent, you have to slow it down.
Well, I had to learn all that, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody knew who I was. My friends knew who I was. They understood me, obviously, because I speak
Okay.
same. But over time, like I have to enunciate a lot more on stage, especially with the shorter jokes, because every word in my joke matters. If I take one word away, it's not gonna work. So I have to, just pay attention and stuff. I don't know.
That's hard though to have a different cadence than what you would normally feel.
Honestly, it's a totally different persona to me.
Okay.
Like you guys know me.
So you go into character basically.
Character.
Okay. Wow.
And it's still me. Like I've wrote the jokes, obviously.
Of course.
And then, but the personality on stage is totally different than my normal personality. I'm still funny, obviously.
Obviously.
Obvious.
But, it's like, I don't know. How much did you change, Phil?
I don't know if I changed much.
When was the first time you did stand-up? Not improv crap. I'm sorry, not improv.
Well, the thing, crap. Right. Well, the thing is, when I was in college, though, I took a public speaking course, and I was like my second year, which I loved it. But I turned everything into comedy.
Right.
Like she's like, all right, write a speech on something serious, but every single time it was filled with jokes. And she's like, you need to do stand up. You need to major in communication and all this. And I'm like, yeah, I love it. I had no idea. So really, in that first time, I was dirty. I was talking trash. And I just came natural to me at 18. I was just...
Oh, that was the first time you went on stage, 18?
Because I was 17 when I first went to college.
Huh.
And then I was a resident assistant in college. So I had like 350 students in my building that we would run, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would take the opportunity every year that we got new students. Like I'm supposed to be like, hi, welcome, I'm Flo, I'm your RA. And of course, I had a whole speech with jokes put in there, and I recorded. I have something on YouTube from like, I don't know when I was probably 19.
Like a shtick, like
Just talk
Disney
shit.
when you go on the boat ride and the guys doing all the corny jokes.
Yeah,
That's great.
You had a routine that you did to welcome them. That's cool.
I just made it up, and I've, like I said, I don't think I've changed really. I think I'm just the same dirty shit talking, sarcastic, deadpan.
Yeah.
I like to do the act outs, but I just haven't thought of many act outs lately, I guess.
I mean,
but,
the only act outs I've seen for you is always twerking.
right. Well, with black comedy,
I'd
that's
twerk
how it
also on stage.
That's how it starts. Every time they post something from that open mic, I'm like,
everybody that's every time I get up there in an open mic black comedy, it's always twerking.
twerking. Yeah.
And she twerks and she wants me to twerk.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay.
I mean,
Can you actually twerk though?
No.
Okay, that's.
No, I can't.
I mean, it's unusual. You can.
It took
Okay.
years to practice.
I mean, it's unusual.
Took years to
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. I'm a natural, I guess. for white people.
Right. It's
You
unnatural.
have Brazilian, right? Or something.
Oh, that's why.
Well, just plain old American redneck. Yep.
Playing on
The whole redneck twerk.
redneck twerk. Can you
Wow.
twerk? I don't even know what twerking is. I just recently found out. That's when you don't go down your knees or something.
Get the button.
On your knees.
No,
No,
you bend your knees, not go down on your knees. My bad. So I was
You're
thinking
talking
about
about
something
something else.
You've been practicing it, haven't you?
You've been practicing something else.
Oh my, you should see me when I'm trying to practice karaoke because that's terrifying to me. Karaoke. So
Yeah.
I want to have one song that I can nail. And I'm like, I still haven't found my song that I can, like, truthfully, like, hey, we want to do karaoke? Sure, put this song on. Just murder, you know? I don't know. You probably have done
That's
karaoke.
one thing I've never
Oh, yeah.
done is karaoke.
What?
It is terrifying to me. Terrifying.
I don't
know why.
even end up singing. I just end up rapping.
So, but what kind of songs do you pick? Like, do you pick rap
I don't
songs or?
sing it. Yeah, I'm just screaming basically. Yeah.
Me and my sisters used to sing like in churches.
Okay.
We would go to different churches and sing as a group.
Rap or?
No, it was, Christian songs in church,
Okay.
gospel
I've
music.
been to church before. I know. how church-
I didn't know how much I had to, how far I had to dumb it down to where you understood exactly. There's good and evil.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, I haven't sung in many years, but I've never tried karaoke. I can't sing like I used to, but I'd like to try it.
You have a
sometime.
good voice.
I think that you're right about having the one song. Because just like stand up, you know not to go on stage unprepared, right?
Right.
So even in karaoke, you got to have some preparation.
I have friends and they are killers with karaoke.
Yeah.
It's like you are listening to the original guy.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah, I've heard good karaoke. I just never tried it.
And I heard a lot more not good karaoke.
Well, that's the best kind
That's what people say. I'm like, I don't want to go up there and embarrass myself. Meanwhile, I'm doing comedy. It is so weird.
But if it's your friend and it's terrible,
Have you done the Korean karaoke when it's just your friends? It's
In that room.
there's
like a
separate
private
rooms. There was one in Beach Boulevard before the pandemic. I'm not sure if they're open. I got kicked out from that one.
now this was what now?
It's a Korean karaoke.
Korean?
Korean.
Not
Korean.
Not Korean.
Korean, okay. Karaoke. No, I don't.
Never would have guessed.
I have not.
So it's just a room with your friends.
what is this right here?
It's a
I don't know. Did you know that
Korean.
this makes all your guests
Korean.
look like they have a headdress?
It's kind of.
Oh wow!
I guess.
Imre, you better.
I don't mind
fix
being a Korean bride. That's what I like.
Korean.
Korean.
Korean bride.
Korean.
Corian is actually a solid surface material that they make countertops out of. I know that because I've been 40 years in the cabinet business. It's a brand. It's a brand
That's why
of
my
solid
jokes
surface.
don't work about North Korea.
Because you say everybody thinks
Korea.
it's
The
countertops. Yeah. Now we've just saved him. You can bring all those jokes back. See?
There you go.
See?
North Korea is back in business.
Have you ever seen the lounge at the Normandy at the Ramona Boulevard Flea Market? I know I talk about it in my set.
Boulevard Flea Market?
No, the
They have a
Ramona
stage.
Boulevard.
Okay.
There's this. Okay, it's probably very similar, but it's the west side, so it's even more.
Oh, Orange Park. No, I never been.
No, it's not Orange Park. It's west side Jacksonville. It's Ramona Boulevard off I-10.
Ramona.
Ramona.
All right.
At Lane Avenue. Lane Avenue.
Okay.
Okay, there's a flea market there, and they have a lounge, and I haven't been there in years, but they do karaoke on Sundays, and it is the most amazing. I mean, because they're all drunk on a Sunday morning,
Oh, is it
and
in
they're
the
singing, and oh yeah, it's in the morning. Wow. Oh yeah.
Wait, this is
Karaoke, and they sing like the sad Hank Williams songs, where you're crying and people are trying to slow dance to it, and it is so wonderful. You need to check that out.
All right.
Anyway,
I love.
that's what I thought you were talking about when you said Korean lounge or something. I was like,
Korean
Beach Boulevard.
karaoke.
Korean.
So tell us more.
So no, the point is you are in a room with just your friends. It's nobody else. There is a big screen and 2 microphones over there.
Yeah.
That's where I started comedy, by the way, because
Comedy.
What's Korean about it? What is
it's
that?
just the name of it. It's just a type.
It
type
developed
of
in
karaoke.
Oh, it's from Korea.
Yeah.
I never heard of that. I just heard
Maybe I just made that
private
interesting.
karaoke room.
No, that's what I call it. Maybe
Korean.
that's racist.
I don't know.
I say racist about
Not to me. I don't know.
It's how I was
So
raised.
you're trying to give credit to where maybe it's due.
But anyway, so what happened was
Any racist comments are not necessarily the product of this podcast.
So what happened was
Disclaimer.
my favorite song, I just like, not favorite, but one of my favorite songs is Light My Fire by The Doors.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys like music or The Doors, but it's a 7-minute long song with about a 40-second singing part. Not a long, right? Not a long singing part. So anyway, and that's when I started.
So that's your karaoke go-to.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't have a good voice for it. But
No one does
I
for
was drunk.
karaoke most of the time.
I was drunk and I just started doing comedy, which I thought was comedy was at the time. And I was riffing on stuff. And it did not go well because and when I get drunk, I like to be by myself sometimes and just walk away. So I left my friends group and I went into every other room, which they have no idea who you are. I crashed a bachelorette party. I went into
That's
with some
fun.
4 Irish guys. 4 of them were sitting there
And they're all set up for this karaoke?
in separate rooms. So you don't.
Wow.
I was walking in every.
It's like a brothel.
Yes, it's exactly like it is.
Wow.
And my friends dragged me out. And that was one of those nights that it was right after my divorce was finalized. So I'm like, all right, let's go out, celebrate. And that's pretty much all I remember. Somebody recorded. Oh, I sat on a big styrofoam cooler. I tried to sit on it and it just exploded because it was styrofoam. So that's when we had.
Put it in the red.
That's when we have to leave the party.
That's funny. A styrofoam cooler.
Yep.
So did you sing the same song in every room?
No. They kicked
That's
out
not-
immediately. Imagine it's just a random dude showing up and
They reckon it wasn't like Wedding Crashers where you can infiltrate.
I was way too drunk for that. I was way too drunk for that.
I think it'd be cool. Like, can you request songs in the Korean?
You put it on. There's a
Karaoke?
keyboard that you can use.
So you could literally have walked into each one of those rooms and put your song on and sang, and then walked.
I did
Be like
make it
hitting
that far.
6 open mics in one night.
Yes.
By the time you're done with all the Korean I almost said barbecue.
There is a business idea for comedy. 6 rooms.
Oh,
open
yeah.
mics at the same time, and you can
Nice.
go from one room to another, and anybody can sit in whatever. 6 comics at the same time doing.
But in between, you have to do Korean I keep saying barbecue. Korean karaoke in between each mic set.
Yes.
There you go.
You have to drink a shot every time. So by the time you're done with the 6 shots is a lot of drinks. I don't know.
Oh yeah, and you have to drink. Okay.
I mean, you don't have to. It's just more fun. That's it.
Wow.
We figured it out. I'm gonna see if this building is still operating as a karaoke.
Nice.
And I'm gonna pitch it Sunday afternoon, open mic comedy.
And at the end of it, there's just like these cots set up where you just crash because
Yes.
you're drunk
Yeah,
and tired.
take a nap if
You
you need
can
it.
crash on the couch. It's another use of the couch.
Wow.
That's where my mind goes immediately. I don't know. What do you think about that idea, Flo?
No comment.
What? You don't think it's gonna work out?
I don't know. Go for it. Present it.
Present it.
So you have to have an audience in every one of the rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's hard enough to get one.
Well, I know. That's how I'm laughing.
All we need is 6 audiences
Yes.
Only 6.
every night. That's all we need, and this will be a profitable
Yeah.
And Jackson.
Every room.
profitable show. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. We can talk about the business side of comedy. It's just horrible. I think,
Oh yeah.
like Jacksonville in general, we just don't have big rooms, or not even big room. We just like, for example, Atlanta, they have Laughing Skull. It's a 60-seater, maybe 80. You know
That what?
Laughing Skull. It's one of the most famous clubs in the country, I think. But it only fits 80 people,
Yeah.
right? And it's amazing. I don't know if you.
So how do they? Do you think they? I mean, how do you have enough they have 10 shows a day or what?
Yeah, they have insane amount of shows.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I got on their open mic 2 years ago, I think. They have 4-minute open mics because there are so many comics. When I was there, we had at least 24, I don't know, just insane amounts of comics.
Open mic, did they have an audience? Like a real
full-
audience? Or
full
just
audience.
comedians?
No, it's full audience. It's 80 people, 60 people, 80 people. It's insane. And it was,
Well, you
I
need a
had-
real city for it. This isn't a real city.
I mean, it is. The thing is, we have people. We have 8 million people here. And we cannot feel, we cannot feel.
8 million in Jacksonville?
Yeah.
How many are in Atlanta?
Probably more. But what I'm saying is just think about the number, 8 million people.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of people.
How far out are you going though? St. Augustine, Gainesville?
Spread out.
There's not 8 million in Duval County. There's only about 1.5.
All right, you guys talk, but you look it up, Flo.
Okay.
I think there's like 1.8.
No. Really?
I think.
This is where I'm getting...
Now, I know it used to be the biggest city in the country.
No, it is...
Well,
still
land
the biggest.
mass.
There's
Yeah.
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 But here's
But
what-
they don't include the possums and the raccoons and the
So
deer.
IKEA said he's not going to build a store until there are at least 8 million people in a whatever...
Oh, okay.
That's what
okay.
I'm guessing. And IKEA was built years ago.
Oh, so you're basing your entire
Basing it on Swedish...
your money's on IKEA deciding to come here.
1 million.
No. That's crazy.
Duval County.
But IKEA probably used the region as
Yeah, I don't know what they used. So they obviously pull people from St. Augustine because they don't have to drive to Orlando and
right.
Daytona maybe even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Orlando is closer to Daytona than here.
Correct. Yes,
So, but anyway,
it
we have
is.
a lot of people. Maybe not 8 million. I exaggerate.
I mean,
I was going to say 8 million. That's this town has really grown.
Atlanta's 6 million, but let's just say
Okay,
maybe
but they're probably talking about the city limits.
Yeah.
If you talk about the greater Atlanta area, it's probably way
Like
more.
we have Duval, we have Jack's Beach, that's another county or something, right? So we have we have 4 counties, no, or something like that. You have Duval, San Joe.
Well, you have St. John's, Clay, Duval, Nassau, Baker.
Okay, never mind.
Those are all the surrounding counties, but Duval is Jacksonville.
Sure.
And then Jack's Beach is technically part of that, even though they have their own.
I know there was some kind
They
of
have their own like city government, but as far as I think they're still a part of
okay.
Jacksonville as far as the city.
Anyway, even though it's a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like
It is a lot of people, and
get-
there's not and if you go outside, it's not like Orlando where you have all these other towns around it. Jacksonville's kind of got its own.
You're just off.
It's the corner of the state is all Jacksonville,
Yeah.
right? So anybody that's within 100 miles of Jacksonville would consider this their home, right?
Sure. I mean, maybe not 100 miles, but yeah,
80,
80.
I don't know. Whereas like in New York, if you're
Sure.
2 miles from, you're in Long Island and they don't consider you part of New York City, right?
Yeah.
Even though if you took the landmass of Jacksonville and put it over New York, there would probably be 20 million people.
Yeah.
You're right. That whole thing would be, yeah.
Yeah, New York was huge when I went up there the first time until I went to Paris, and I'm like, all right, never mind. New York is actually pretty small.
Really? Paris is bigger? I didn't know that.
But you can't see the end. Like, there is no end to the city. It's insane.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
I loved it there, except the rats. Like, they have more rats than you.
More rats in Paris. Is that Ratatouille? Was that French?
That's the joke. I'm like, Ratatouille was the documentary because there were rats everywhere after the sun went down. Like parks, they were just running.
Nice.
Like we have lizards here everywhere. No, that's how they are.
They have rats.
Yep.
Wow.
All right, how did we end up on this topic? IKEA.
Oh, no.
The business side of comedy. Yeah. So, we need like a medium-sized club, not like a 400 seater, but a little bit smaller, like maybe 100. And just market it. Because, we have some of the shows that they are doing it in smaller venues, right? And they're doing okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we pull in different people. Like if you go to the beach, we have Blue Jay, right?
Yeah.
They pull in beach people. Nobody's going to drive from Orange Park to Blue Jay
Correct.
to see comedy.
Yeah.
They're not.
So we are definitely spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Orange Park has their own areas too that they're starting to develop.
Right.
It seems like they have more and more venues.
That's good.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, when's the last time you heard of a big comedy club being built other than the Mothership in Austin?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it doesn't exist anymore. You hear them closing, but you don't hear them opening. So it's like the model has to be different. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it's probably the small club is like you were talking about Savannah, that club with the drag shows and all the different attractions,
Right.
I don't know. I think there's still a place for straight up old school stand up.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the business model can sustain itself without other things.
Definitely not the old business model, right? Because I don't think it works anymore. So for some reason, I'm not a marketing person.
It's a shame. I miss,
I caught just the tail end of it. But
Me too.
Comedy,
That's
just
it.
the end of it. And I'm glad I did,
Yeah, I thought it was
I still have fun.
awesome,
I still had fun, even though I was an open micer back then as well. But I had fun with, just traveling, hitting up the mics and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah.
But the pandemic changed that also. I guess, maybe it was just the time and the pandemic just put in the final nail in. You know what I mean? That the comedy is one
Probably.
of those going up and down. Like, how they say, the golden days of comedy was the 80s and 90s and stuff, and then it went down. And I feel like it was coming back, but maybe because I'm in it.
I think the golden age of comedy clubs was then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know that there's less comedy now. It's just that it's so spread out into all the
And it's
different.
different.
It is different, yeah. But a lot of it's social media driven, and it's all media based. A lot of it. So
I don't mind. Like, if somebody is funny on social media and they fill up a room and they are funny, who cares? That's their path. Like, we all have different paths, I think. And I still feel like you can still make it if you just do normal comedy. But it's gonna take longer.
yeah, it's just what the old school way that we miss is that the club was there. People went to the club for an experience,
Yeah.
and then whoever they saw, they enjoyed.
Right.
Now, if it's not that specific comedian that they're looking for, they're not going to go to the club. They're going to, people follow the comic now. They don't follow it's not the venue, it's the
I see what-
personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people will watch a Netflix special, but they won't go down the street to the comedy club to see somebody they don't know who might be better.
Sure.
And-
we are all better than any Netflix.
Have you done a special?
No.
Any kind of recording?
This was
recorded
my first
anything?
experience this weekend with Joy. And it was a huge inspiration. I came home, I reorganized my jokes. Oh, not to brag. but I have 78 pages of jokes.
78?
78 pages.
Wow.
Not like, super type, because I organized it in themes or whatever, but that's insane. And not all the AAA jokes, it's just jokes, but it's better than a mic, so it's jokes that are actually good.
But what happened with Joy?
He recorded a special, like an album.
He's calling it an album, yeah.
Yeah. Because he's going to put it up on whatever media he can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's big. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, I've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah, I think it's his first one.
Yeah, that's why I was like, he was the first one I seen.
I know he was excited about it.
No, we were all excited. It was a lot of fun. And it definitely inspired me. Like,
who are we talking about?
Joey Lingle.
Joey. And they said Joy. I was like, who's Joy? I'm like, I don't know who you guys are.
I didn't know if we're allowed to name names, so I didn't want to I didn't want to clarify.
Oh.
That's yeah. So anyway, that was a huge inspiration because
cool.
Because he's like they filled up the room pretty good, and he is like, we can't say that Joey is an all over, right?
Right.
Like, and it was not even in our own town. He went to another town to record his album.
Right.
Because the audience was great. It was a great venue. They were set up for comedy, like they have a stage, blah blah blah. And it was great. And I'm like, all right.
It inspired you.
Mm-hmm. Like, okay, let me see how many. We were talking about don't throw away your old jokes. I was going to. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Why did I stop doing it? Because, I keep writing, so I keep reshuffling or
Right.
just doing newer stuff.
And talking about styles, because you said, it's rare to be the same. So have you changed along the years? Because you've been doing it for a while. How was it in the beginning?
I changed my delivery and my energy. Although I get lazy occasionally, the better my jokes are, the lazier I get in the delivery, because I know that I'm going to get the laugh, so I don't have to work as hard. But it's kind of weird. I don't know if you have time for a long story, but I'll start and you can cut me off if it's too boring. But as you know, I'm a cabinet maker. Okay, that's what the business I just retired from. I've been building cabinets for 40 years. And so for the last 20, I've had part of my own business, and we were in the middle of the Great Recession. Things were terrible. We didn't have money. We were trying to keep our business afloat. A lot of our competitors actually folded during those years, and we were able to keep going. But my truck engine blew up, so I had no vehicle. And so I had to drive a panel van that we had that had no air conditioning and no padding. Okay, it's just a metal box that all the screws make noise, like when the squeak, the panels squeak when they flex as you're driving, and it's just it sounds like the space shuttle literally going down the road. And so I had been in comedy probably 3 years at that point. So
I thought
this was not the Great Recession. Yeah, it was a less Great Recession, but it was still. This is probably 2015.
Oh, okay. I went way back.
We've struggled, and our business has struggled over the years, and but we had some rough years, and so we didn't have the money, and so I was driving this van. And I like to rehearse as I'm driving down the road, or I don't like to, but that's the best time I have to rehearse. And the only way I could hear myself tell jokes was to scream them at the top of my lungs, because I had all the windows down. It was 100 degrees out, and this thing is just going crazy. And so I would scream my jokes through my set to get the rehearsal out. And all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, that I feel... It was exhilarating. I actually was looking forward to rehearsing while I was driving, and I had to drive that van for probably 6 months. It caught on fire. I mean, this was a weird period, but it's like destiny, because it all of a sudden it showed me where I was shorting myself on the stage, because I don't know if I'm a very introverted, low energy person. And so even though I felt like I was screaming my jokes like a madman, it was actually not that weird. I don't know if listen to commercials the next time and how loud the people are talking and yelling. You know, they're like crazy people. They're not. It's not a normal thing. And so I realized I had to get to that level to be able to let the audience feel that energy. And all of a sudden, it just elevated my comedy. I mean, overnight, my comedy went from very average, below average, to all of a sudden people were taking notice. And it just changed the entire way I delivered it.
Interesting.
And so I worked on that for a while, and that's when I became, I started featuring and things shortly after that. But it, it didn't really change the way I write. It didn't change really my personality, but all it did was, you know how you always want the audience to give you energy, and then it feeds back. Well, I found that I could create the energy myself. If I could give them the energy and they would give it back, and it would build that way, and I could control that somewhat. So it changed everything, really. And again, like I'm kind of lazy now because I don't work on it as hard as I should, but I know whenever I'm off stage for a few weeks and I go back and I listen to what I do, and the energy is always several octaves below. The pitch is several octaves below, and the energy level is several notches below.
After not doing it for a while.
After not doing it, and I'm like, if I had only just picked it up to that next level, it would have hit. And so I really need to work on that. But that's something that I would have not learned. I may have never learned that because I thought I was a satirical guy that could make these jabs, jokes, and people would get my point of view and laugh. And I found out that no, I'm just a buffoon. That they need to realize I'm having fun. Yeah, and then they buy into it. If I'm not trying to teach them something, I'm trying to have fun with them. Yeah, and now they interact. The energy is there. They broke down that fourth wall, so to speak, between me and the audience, and so it made a big difference.
That's awesome. So how long did it take you to discover that?
Well, like I say, it was probably 3 years because I started in 13, and then I became a feature, I think, in 3 years. I became an MC after about a year and a half, but then it elevated right about that time. Yeah. It started. So it was a couple years in. I wish I knew the date, but
I mean, I was just curious, like how long, because people say 5 years when you actually find your persona on stage.
Again, if I had to go to open mics and do stage time to find that gift that was given to me by driving that van, there's no doubt it would have taken at least 5 years, and I probably still wouldn't know it.
It might have been just an accident. This was an accident.
I would have to discover it by accident. I don't think naturally I'm not that guy.
Yeah, right.
So, but once it not only did it sound differently to the audience, but it changed my mental state when I got into that frenzied energy. It gave me a different feeling on stage. Suddenly I'm this thing,
So you are a character.
And I am a character, but it's
I mean, it's an exaggeration.
It's an exaggeration of myself, and that to me is, it's funny when you said earlier you had to slow it down. Yeah. I had to speed it up.
Sure.
So to me, speeding it up is easier because it's like just ramping up the energy, and to slow down and still maintain what you've got to me is harder. Don't you think?
I never.
It's very similar, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's a similar problem, not a problem, but a similar thing. But I don't know if it would be harder to speed it up, because I have a couple of bits that I rant.
For you, I think it would be, because you're not that. You're not that. You're not. I think
neither of us are like.
No, well,
I'm not either, but in my mind, I am.
No, on stage, yeah.
On stage.
No, you're not. You're not on stage. But that's the thing. I'm not that way.
Yeah.
And on stage, I'm not that way either. Only in my mind on stage, I'm a freaking wild man. When I look at the video, I'm normal. But that's because I have to be over the top to be normal to an audience. Sure. And so I have to just take it to another level in here.
Yeah.
I don't know if does that make sense?
I get it. I mean, you get into the persona, the stage persona.
Yeah.
You get into the stage persona.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know if it's my voice that I've found, because they say you find your voice. You know, I don't know. There may be something in the future that makes more sense. But as far as delivery, it's made a big difference.
I feel like I can relate though, because I have my open mics. I'm not the same person. I'm like high energy, loud, crazy, wild.
At the mic?
At my open mic that I host.
Okay.
But then everywhere else, I'm like, I feel like less pressure and more natural state of the stoic, low energy.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe like I have certain jokes where it is, but it's funny that you said, because I took a few weeks where I didn't do anything. And then when I did the same joke that I used to do with completely low, and I'm like, oh God, the audience isn't going to get it. It's low energy. But the opposite happened. Actually, I was so slow and pausing. I got a whole bunch of laughs, and I'm like, I did this joke completely different than the original. Normally it was like this higher, faster energy.
Well, how did you feel when you listened to it back? Did you record it?
Did I listen to it?
Well, I'm just wondering, you know.
I hate doing that.
It is so hard.
Nightmare.
But that's, I hope you recorded it, because
I record everything.
Yeah, well, there you go. But I wonder how it sounded to you, because if you got the laughs, obviously you want to keep doing that, right?
Yeah, but I got the laughs both ways, I feel. Maybe I did get more. I'm bad at going back and watching everything. I hate doing that.
You don't have to watch, because that's one of the...
No, I don't. I'm not.
You just have to listen.
But it's still cringe. It's still cringe for me. It's so cringe for me to watch or to listen or whatever.
I think different rooms probably require different cadence anyway, depending on if it's it's a high energy room or low, or a small crowd. So you may have just found lightning in a bottle that night when you slowed down, and it happened to be perfect for that room. But it'd still be nice to hear it and know, you know.
Yeah.
So you can make a note for the next time, you know.
And you don't have to listen to it right away, so you give yourself some space.
Actually, if I don't, I won't. Actually, I should do it immediately after, in the car, on the way home. I used to be really good at every single time, and then lately I'm like, ugh. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I can do that if it's a bad set.
No, if it's a bad set, it's shoved down somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I can listen to it if it's a bad set, because I know it probably won't be as bad after I listen to it. But if it's a great set, I don't want to listen to it. If I think I've crushed a room, I don't want to hear, because then I hear it and I'm like, oh, that was terrible. You know, I wasn't that good.
I've done that before.
I'd rather revel in the joy, at least for a few days.
I've done that before. I'm like, oh, that was so good. And I listened to it and I'm like, what the freak was
I mean, I do have good sets that sometimes when I'm down, like, oh, what am I doing? You know, I watch it and I go, I still got this.
Well, then it's like,
oh yeah, no doubt.
But then, cause sometimes you'll, depending on the audience, like, I think that one time I thought, I was like, oh man, I did so good that the whole audience was laughing, smiling with me the whole time. I don't know if they had quieter laughs or if my camera was in the way back of the room. Because when I watch it, I'm like, where are all these huge laughs? I thought.
Well, see, that can make a big difference too, is where you have your phone or where you have your camera. I mean, I've used other people's phones, and all of a sudden the laughter, I'm like, where did those laughs come from? And it's my stupid phones not picking them up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
if it's a smaller room, or even the Comedy Zone, you know how it could be a small crowd, but they're all in the front, and then you're way in the back. That's stupid.
Yeah. And actually, one of the comics, I think it might have been Alex, because I was telling him, I'm like, it was interesting that the whole front section was laughing, but nobody in the back. And he said, because you can't hear it. So they're actually laughing, but they are far. So you can't.
Oh, you can't hear them laughing. Right. Gotcha.
They're way up by the bar sometimes.
So now I just say the jokes and I don't even listen.
And you just assume.
I just like Alex said it's funny.
You're like, he says the joke, and then he waits a while, then he goes, "Thank you for laughing."
Yeah.
Can you imagine being in a theater or a stadium and trying to hear the laughter and figure out,
Am I
are they laughing at 3 jokes ago, or is this the joke I just...
Zoom mic. I don't know if you ever done the Zoom mic.
No.
It's during the pandemic, the online open mic.
Yeah, no, it was horrific.
I did it a couple of times. I did it all the time, but it was brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah, I wouldn't even...
You didn't know if it's you are bombing or it's just the latency or whatever. It was...
One of the headliners
writing.
One of the headliners I worked with told me that what he insisted on when he did Zoom shows was that whoever had set it up would only have like 10 people mic'd. Everybody else would be muted. So that even if he had like 100 people tuned in, he just focused on those few people. And if he got the laughs from them, he knew everybody else was laughing. Because
that's a good idea.
Everybody was laughing at different times and different...
Yeah. Oh, that's a pretty good idea.
I'm wondering, though, because you both looked at me and you're like, no, you're low energy. But really, I don't know if it's just like this past year of divorce, because really, all of my jokes...
Are we talking about it now?
Have been... No, but I mean, I would consider myself normally... I don't freaking know. I guess, I don't know. I have sets of jokes that are high energy and some that are not, but I just feel like this past year has gone low energy. And even when I show up to places I have been just naturally just like...
Yeah, when you show up,
it's
only just leave.
Right. It's only my open mic that I'm like, I'm responsible for making...
Yeah, you're trying to build that. You're hosting, so you're building.
You got to do that.
That's a different energy level.
And extremely...
I've noticed when you work jokes out at the workshop that your energy level is lower.
Oh, I have no energy.
Yeah, which I understand that because it's brutal doing it in front of a few comedians and not having an audience reaction, and you're doing half-baked stuff anyway that's not
right
developed, so it's easy to get that lower energy. But I've noticed it's you seem to have a lower tone and energy than you used to, but I haven't been to your show in a while, so I don't know how your energy is on...
I mean, I want to say at your show, you are like half and half. You're definitely not as hyper as you are at the mic, but you are not deadpan. I don't think you were deadpan at your show, like last time.
That's weird. It's very strange.
I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
Because that's the dangerous thing about developing a character, right?
That is.
You have to stick with the character, or you might have to stick with the character. Or, I mean, I perform.
I mean, I'm pretty... I
tried a couple of characters.
I think I'm comfortable being the deadpan. I feel like that's more naturally me. But then I have noticed that I'm like, a lot of the times my jokes, when I am the higher energy, it's like I can get more laughs that way.
Right.
You're saying like you get more laughs from the audience. But I don't know. And then I tried that one joke after a few weeks of not doing comedy and completely low energy, and I got a lot of laughs, but I don't know if it was the room that night or what, because... I'm
convinced more and more that it's timing. And, I mean, I know that's so hokey, but I'm telling you, and when I say timing, it's not just the beat, but the comfortableness and the delivery. If it sounds like you're talking to the audience and you care and you're earnestly talking to them.
Like your friend or something?
Well, to where it's natural. It's not something that you've prepared for them. It's something that you really want to talk to them about. Then I think the energy level can be wherever and they'll get it, because it doesn't have to be like, yes, my jokes are better when they're high energy. I get more laughs. I don't know if I actually connect to the audience better. I don't know if they're thinking about those jokes after the show more than if I have a little lower energy, but I'm actually connected to them, and then they can think about what I'm saying more instead of just laughing. So there, I think it's a science, right? I love the science of comedy, and I don't think there's a right or wrong way. But timing, to me, when you can tell a joke 3 different ways, okay, or 5 different ways. Jerry Seinfeld tells it the same way every time. The rest of us probably don't. We have different energy levels, so we might start out a little faster or a little louder on a joke. As long as your timing and the connection to the audience is good for whatever you're delivering, it's not like you're jerky or you forgot your lines or whatever. If it's natural and they think you're into it and they're into it, then I think that it can be just as powerful without maybe having that high energy. And I mean, I had a show recently where I was rusty, so my energy was lower and my cadence was slower, but I literally sounded very natural. Like I was not afraid of these people. I was enjoying talking to them because they were middle-aged white people, and I have nothing to be afraid of. They're my people. They're going to get every reference that I make. So when I talk about marriage and TV shows from the 70s, they get it, you know? So I was in that natural state, and I listened to it later, and I thought, boy, my energy was a lot lower, but yet it sounded so comfortable that it was just like I was a family member with them, you know, and they were laughing because they got everything, you know. So I don't know. I think it can go, you know, I think it's really a matter of everything coming together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it's a high energy room and you're supposed to be high energy and you come in low, it's not going to work. But if you're
The room.
well, I don't know. I can't do that. It's luck, a lot of it.
A
But
set of jokes. These are my high energy. These are my low.
Yeah.
that,
But
you know,
no, you can't change your set every time.
Well, I mean, I have a set for different backgrounds, and some people are like, well, your jokes should match and work everywhere. No, I have a set for white people and a set for black people. And my set for, like, actually just this past week, this whole set, I got a bunch of laughs at Voussoir.
Yeah.
Did the same set at Poker Face, all black. Half those jokes didn't even land. I lost their attention. They weren't even,
Sure.
I'm like, dang, this got a good laugh last night. I even told them, like, y'all, this got a great laugh last night. What happened to y'all? But, so I have a set for both backgrounds.
Interesting. Like, you see, I don't do that. So you do have to reset a room. Let's say you have a hyper comedian going up. Let's say Mikey B goes up before me. I have to come on and kind of set the pace because I cannot match Mikey's energy, right?
How do you set the pace?
right.
I cannot match Mikey's energy. I go up and
Right. He's high end. He's hard to follow.
But, we don't
But I mean, do you
You have
say
to reset it.
right.
like, what do you do?
I usually address it somehow.
Hey, yeah,
I'm like, hey, are you getting ready for a hyper comedian? Here I am, and I just stand there, and they start laughing because
Yeah.
it's just silly.
Right.
Then, okay,
You've taken control back, you know. I'm more interested right now in the fact that you segregate your jokes
Yep.
for blacks and whites.
I do.
What is the deal?
I have, yeah.
I didn't-
I have a set that
I mean,
kills for both. For separate.
I think everyone deserves your white jokes. Okay, that's not fair.
Some of those they just didn't land. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, well, that's why they knew they were, you know,
Yeah.
why are you writing jokes for black people? We want the real shit.
It is real.
Oh, okay.
It's just white people sometimes won't get these black jokes, just like the black people won't get some of these white jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of my I don't know, some of my teaching jokes, right? Like, and even actually in Voussoir, when I saw some white and black people in the audience, the white people were dying, and then a couple of black people, they just didn't get it for them. And I'm like,
Yep.
these white people are dying at it. These ones aren't. So I'm like, so I got a list of, so I know
Wait, what kind of joke was that? Because some
teacher
jokes.
stuff. Teacher
Oh.
stuff. Some of my teacher stuff, and some of the teacher stuff does have like black and white references, jokes about race in it. Maybe that's why some of it. But then again, like some of my black jokes, black people get it because it's cultural too.
Yeah.
So it's stuff that they get. I don't know. I don't know. So if I go to I have a set. So if I'm invited for a show that's all black, I'm doing that set.
Mm-hmm.
And then like,
Oh, you mean beforehand? It's not like you change your set right before.
no, I have a black comedy set. And then I have these feature jokes that clearly didn't work last week at the black comedy night, but it worked as a white comedy night.
So you're segregating the jokes.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I'm
That's what I mean.
no, but then when I have when I have a mixed audience, then I got to know in my head, okay, maybe I'll throw in a little bit of both because
Interesting.
but it's a risk I'm taking that some of the black people are not going to get. And like I even had like one of my black friends, I was like, okay, this audience is mixed. One of my shows, right? You know the show I put on?
You have a black friend? Is that what you're saying?
Black friend.
She's trying to dig out of this.
My best friend's who's black. She told me after, she goes, that joke was hilarious, but the white people didn't laugh. And I was like, thanks, I know that. I was like, I know it's a black reference. So she told me personally after the show, I can't believe the white people didn't laugh at that. I'm like, well, I threw it in there because I had some black people and some white people, and I expected that because I already know that some of these jokes work for white people and some don't.
Yeah. Maybe you should talk more about that. Like, that's my thing.
It works for everybody.
Or they are all not laughing. Like, I don't have this issue, you know.
I have a harder time with young versus old than I do black versus white, but I prefer a mixed audience with and when it comes to racial, I like blacks and whites in the same room because and then I like to take the black side of things and be against my white brothers, you know, and that usually works the best for me. Right. But
I have a set for boomers too.
Do you? Mm. But I've found that, you know,
cleaner.
If different races are in a room and they find that they can all laugh at the jokes, it loosens everything up then. And if you have a bunch of white people in a room and you're talking about something that's racially sensitive, they're not into it, right? Yeah. But if you have mixed and the black people like it and the white people, you know, they're okay with it, and vice versa, it takes the tension out and now everybody can laugh. But young versus old, I don't always relate to the younger audiences, so I mean, that's hard for me.
Like younger audience, like my age and a mixed crowd, I usually do very mixed crowds, like the race or age. The super young folks, you know, not really.
Right.
They are like, because now I'm at that age that I look old, right? So they are like, what the heck is this guy talking about?
You don't look that old, but anyway, I feel you though on the young crowd. Like when I did a college crowd, I even thought after, I'm like, why didn't that's the crowd to do my drugs jokes, my dick and vagina.
I don't think you can say that in college.
No, they all did.
Oh, really?
And I even thought, why didn't I do more? Because I threw in some clean stuff, because I actually did a clean crowd at Alan Tracy's, and it was an all boomer crowd, all older crowd. And then very next week I had a young college crowd, and I did some of those boomer ones that did great with the boomers, and I saw it wasn't as great with the young college crowd. I'm like, I should have just stuck to just straight up drugs, vagina, dick, and that would have been fine. I didn't need to throw in my cleaner stuff.
Huh.
So I guess I'm not just talking about black and white. I got boomer, I got younger, I got older, I got...
Yeah.
But that's what they're saying. Like,
read the crowd.
Read the crowd, but jokes should work in almost every room, right? That's the goal is.
Well, yeah, well, that's a goal.
Because then you can get booked anywhere. You can get booked on a cruise ship, you can be at a corporate event. And, corporate events pay like $1,000 for
that's
30
gotta
minutes.
Be clean.
Yeah, if you can just get like an hour's worth of killer, clean.
That would be great.
I mean, that's jokes. This year, just riding clean. And I've been,
that's all I need is 1 hour of killer clean.
I
think I'd be good at that.
That'll be the day.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. Like, I do enjoy the writing process, but it is hard.
You're serious about writing clean?
I am writing.
You have been saying
I just wanted to try it. And I've been doing it. I don't do a lot of baby killings anymore. I mean, it's very funny because...
What's dirty about that? It's dark. It's not dirty. Unless you're sexual.
That's why I always say I'm not a dirty comic.
Unless there's more to baby killing than I thought. But
yeah. It's all babies.
It's a very clean, dark subject.
But... So it is hard, but I don't think it's harder but my brain is just, every time I write like 5 clean jokes or I try to write 5, just one dark joke pops into my head immediately, and it's done, and it's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Get it
that's how
out.
my brain works.
Demons.
Yeah, demons. Demons get to work because I need more jokes.
Well, I made a vow that this year I was going to write 2 clean jokes for every dirty joke.
Okay, sure.
And everybody thought that was really good, but
Yeah.
I don't think I've
It's hard.
ever actually sat down.
Oh,
And
it is hard.
It's so hard.
it is.
It's so hard.
I'm a little better now at not immediately going, when I write a premise and I'm trying to write the punchline 10 years ago, of course, it immediately went dirty.
Yeah.
That was the easy way out. I'm a little better now, at least trying to figure out, is there a clean way I can end this joke? And I still end up going dirty, but at least I tried, right?
Right.
I mean,
God.
I don't know.
I'm only going kind of clean with teacher stuff. That's the only way and I still go kind of dirty.
Yeah. I mean, there is nothing wrong with that, but after I've been doing it for 5, 6
Well, you
years.
just said yourself, corporate, everything, the big stuff, they want clean.
That's not what
Spike wants us to be clean shit. I got in trouble with Spike one time. I dropped that bomb and
Where? At the workshop?
But, well, that's a different,
comedy thing.
Phil, we told you these are church people.
it's like
You're right.
it's like a
How are you
teaching environment, and you should learn clean first.
I know.
I think.
Oh, I
just
know.
because it's so much harder. I mean, if everybody just drops F-bombs and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so forth right out of the gate, they're not going to get.
I know.
They're not going to learn the discipline of having to work clean. I had to learn it, but
Any
it-
tips?
it's
Any tips and advice for new comedians, Spike, that are coming out to the scene? You've been in it for a while.
how old do I look?
You said
When you said the Great Depression, you were running a business and your truck blew up.
The Great Depression. Yeah, it was actually in 1929 when
You look great. I hope
I was on the ledge of a building, and they said, try comedy. Oh my God.
2 years ago.
He's
That was the Great Depression, 1920.
20s, yeah. It was,
had 20.
I think, I said 29. I don't know if that's right. It is. Is it?
I mean, it was
Yeah, I think so too. The 30s was the Depression.
First
Yeah.
World War ended in 1921 or something like that.
We had the Roaring 20s. We had the Roaring 20s after World War I, probably. And then we had the Great Depression. Then we had World War II, which fixed everything. It did. I mean,
Sometimes war is the
it
answer.
fixed everything, man.
For men.
It fixes everything.
Yeah.
But I think the
Greatest Generation came out of that, right?
Yeah, the Greatest Generation.
And then
Is that the boomers?
Then
I don't know.
the 60s and the hippies tried to fuck everything up. But
I like to talk to old people because they all hate it. It's so funny. And they're like, oh, the hippies in the 70s.
I actually like hippies now more than I ever did.
Oh, really? I don't like
Growing up, I thought they were, I was like,
Yeah.
who are these people? Now I get it. I like it.
I hung out with hippies for a while, and I realized that they are just like anybody else.
Yeah.
It's a clique. It's a group of people. You have to...
It's an orgy.
No, I never had any orgies. Oh, wait a second. Maybe it's my problem.
Been invited many times.
Really?
Said no, thank you, not interested.
Yeah, good. And nobody invited.
I didn't know they had orgies. Nobody told me.
Oh, there's all kinds of shit out there.
Those are the extreme hippies. We are talking about normal hippie, day-to-day hippies.
Yeah, I've seen all types of shit, especially at my open mics. There's always tits and vagina out.
Oh, I've seen that. Oh, my
See that all
that
that?
was
Spike?
crazy.
There's the girl, every time there's something happens at my open mic. There's
That
lots
was
of
a
tits.
lady.
She's dancing next to me and she let her dress ride all the way up.
It was in, and Phil put it up there. I'm like,
Of course, it's all online, but I didn't put it in a reel because I only put it in my stories so I wouldn't get
harassed.
I need to get out more.
She had fake boobs. They were nice.
How did you know they were fake?
Oh, you can't.
You can tell.
Fake.
No, really?
Sometimes.
What?
I mean,
They were obviously fake.
Obvious.
They were new.
they were perky.
They weren't moving. They were hard as a rock.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Was the vagina new too?
that was all mush.
Whoa. I'm
Too excited.
I am very excited now. I'm into
I think he's going into
the new. They're making new vaginas. Let me hear about this.
Oh, no, they can increase your penis size also. I didn't know that.
That's something I'm definitely interested in.
It's crazy what they can do. And you can also speak
3D
any language,
printed.
which is not that interesting, but it's crazy.
Yeah. But no, any other lessons and things you've learned along the way? Comedy-wise?
The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. I mean, if you'd asked me that 5 years ago, I would have given you all kinds of advice for new comics. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to screw them up,
Because it's a path you have to find, honestly.
It is. I mean, I probably wouldn't have done it if I hadn't had the structure of the Comedy Zone to teach me and get the fundamentals to where I had a place to perform and learn at the same time. Because, again, being a cabinet maker that gets up at 5 o'clock every morning, you can't be at the open mics, right? So I very little stage time other than
I feel you.
certain,
That's why I try to get number one up there and leave
there you go.
first and out the door. Yeah.
So, but
I appreciate you running the workshops also.
Oh, yeah.
Really appreciate that.
I enjoy it.
I love the feedback, and I grow from it every time. That's why I'm like, if I miss it, I feel pain. I'm like, dang, like I can't,
Yeah.
So I appreciate going to those.
Well, I enjoy it. My favorite thing is talking to comedians about comedy, like you guys here. So I'd rather do that, I think, than perform, to be honest. I just love it. So the workshop is a place we can do that. And
You always have some ideas going. You always have something, and I'm like, but I wish.
then afterward, I'm like, why did I say that?
What? No, it's good. I don't have that. Like, even when you guys go up, I'm like, oh, that was good. But sometimes something will come to me, but I'm not like you, where I'm like, ooh, like you should, try that or do that. Like, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Giving feedback to other people, I'm just not there.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't mind giving feedback, but my material, like every time I have somebody, I feel like it's because of, it's my, like, I have my personality and my jokes stuff. So I don't want to deviate somebody.
Yeah.
With, hey, you should do this because it's dark. Who was doing?
No, I mean, if
jokes?
you have something, say it. I literally, like, I'm blank. Like, most of the time when people go up, I'm just like, that was good, or maybe it wasn't. I'm just like, I don't have a thought for it most of the
Oh,
time.
you mean for other people?
Yeah, maybe I need to smoke some marijuana or something like
I
they
don't know.
That might help.
do. Because nothing's coming to
You
me.
gotta meditate.
I think it's your years of practice and being with other people and comedians and noticing what works, what doesn't.
I'm just a nice person. I want other comedians to succeed.
Yeah.
Right.
If I'm helping someone with a joke, it's not because I think I'm a better writer than them. It's just that I've thought of something that possibly could give their joke a little boost. And if I can do something to make someone else's joke better, I mean, that to me is it's wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling,
Yeah.
So
Give me
that's,
some pops. I have some stuff straight from Spike.
you've learned a lot,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
not just from me, but just over the years. I mean, you've been there, what, a couple years now?
Mm-hmm.
So it's neat watching you grow.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Get more and more vulgar, and
I don't know, I think I started out pretty dirty. I'm trying to go the other way, Spike. Damn it.
there's only so many words for pussy.
Right.
You can't.
Like how many?
I've never counted them, but there's not a lot.
Not a lot, right?
Not a lot.
I feel like we have more for penises.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Already. All right. Do you have any socials that you can plug?
Maybe I can help you with that, Spike.
See, now that's where I need help. I have my business cards here, and I went to bring it in. I told Imre, I said, I just realized everything on here is wrong. So that's how far behind.
Email account with MySpace.
I do have a website. I haven't been to it in a long time.
There you go.
Probably.
But no, actually, it might be. But it's spikescomedy.com.
Okay.
All right, so that's where I'm supposed to have everything on there, and that's where you can have my links to everything else. But I haven't updated it in a while. Twitter or X, it says @SpikeYoder. I've never done that, so I doubt I'm on there. My Facebook is Spike Yoder, and I also have a Spike's comedy page. But Spike Yoder, you can friend me. And my email, I just changed my email. So if anybody wants to email me, it's actually no. It's dyoder at dyoder86@gmail.com. 86. Isn't that terrible? That's something that Sprint gave me.
All right. Wait, so say it again. The
dyoder86@gmail.com.
Don't forget.
And so that's pretty much it. But you can hit me up, email,
awesome.
if you want to talk.
Well, thanks for coming on. And my
It's been great.
website.
Are we recording yet? Have we started?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my nightmare. If I look around and we had.
Oh my God.
I wish it were more funny. It didn't feel funny.
It was
It
fun.
was funny, but
It's supposed to be funny.
it was thoughtful. It was
Thoughtful.
Flo,
Yeah,
plug
we need
your
that.
socials.
so funny.
All right. Now let's clap one last time.
Thank you again. No, this is good. I appreciate it.
This is
all right.
We have
Cool.
you. This is
I'm
real
glad to be here. It was
comedy.
fun.
Real comedy. Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, did you hear that? We got the lowdown on the streets where the talk's at. From the hood to Hollywood, we spilling all the tea. Ain't no secret safe, no, we bring the heat. We dropping names and we dishing the dirt. Psst, did you hear that? Spreading rumors like crack, ain't no turning back. We the real OGs taking it to the airwaves. Psst, did you hear that? Getting the scoop, all the celeb facts, you better listen up, cause we run this podcast.